Loud thunder filled the quiet streets, matching my feeling of being alone. I was by myself in my apartment, the city's normal sounds covered by the heavy rain. The light from my desk lamp filled the room, making moving shadows that looked like my growing worry. I was deep into studying for my exams, my mind full of information. The stress of upcoming exams was as hard on me as the bad weather outside. And then my phone started to ring. An unknown number showed on my phone. I didn't pick it up, thinking it was a mistake. But then it kept calling over and over, really demanding my focus. It made my nerves worse. The storm matched my growing worry, the thunder sounding like a drum before some big event. After the fifth call, I finally answered, feeling both curious and nervous. I answered the phone. A voice, as cold as the storm outside, came through that phone. "Are you home alone?" it asked, the question sitting there, full of danger. My heart beat fast in my chest. It felt like I was suddenly standing over a deep hole as I ended the call, fast, my hands shaking. The question kept repeating in my head, "Are you home alone?" It made me feel scared. The calls didn't stop. Each one made me more scared. They weren't just random numbers showing up on my phone. It was someone or something that knew me. It knew when I was home, what I did, and even the inside of my house. While a storm was happening outside, I was more and more scared inside. The voice on the phone got scarier. It was like it was getting stronger from scaring me. The things it said were scary, like cold hands running up my back, making me shiver. Voice seemed to bounce around my house, making me feel alone. My heart was beating fast, like it was counting down to something scary. Then, there was a knock on the door. The sound broke the quiet, like a sharp knife, like a sign of something scary about to happen. I looked through the small door hole, but the corridor was empty. The quiet was disrupted only by the far-off sound of thunder. Suddenly the lights blinked and turned off, leaving me covered in darkness. A weird quietness took over the flat, marked by the random sound of rain hitting the window. I reached for my phone, my only light source now. The screen turned on, throwing an odd light in the dark around me. Just as I was about to turn on the flashlight, a scary alert showed up. Another call. My heart beat fast in my chest as I picked up, my fingers shaking. The voice on the end wasn't unknown anymore. It was a creepy whisper, a cold breath against my ear. "I'm nearer than you believe." I could almost sense the evil, heated presence behind the words. In the pitch-black darkness, my phone illuminated. "I'm nearer than you believe." I locked myself in the bathroom, my heart racing as I called the emergency number. The person on the phone was calm, which was different from the fear I was feeling. I told them what happened, my voice shaking as I heard noises from the other rooms. The police came quickly, which made me feel both safe and scared. Their torches lit up the dark, showing the storm outside and making big shadows in my house. Their voices were a low sound against the storm. Then there was a yell, a fight, a sound of shock. I stayed still, listening as the police caught the intruder. He wasn't just any robber, but a famous one, known for tricking people and breaking in, hiding in a dark corner of my living room. The sound of handcuffs closing around the robber's wrists made me relax. The storm outside didn't seem as scary now, compared to the storm that had happened inside my house. I was okay, but the feeling of fear stayed. What happened that night reminded me how fast we can feel unsafe. The usual walls of my home, where I used to feel safe, now told scary stories of someone unknown who had been there. This experience taught me a tough lesson, that usual things can sometimes turn scary. So remember, even the places you think are secure can become places where you feel very scared. In the end, even our safe places can become places where we feel very scared.
Imagine this scenario. It's late evening, and I've just wrapped up a grueling week at work. Allow me to introduce myself. I am Ben, a young professional who enjoys the solitude of my modern, secluded apartment. The stress of the week has surely taken its toll, and all I yearn for is a tranquil night in, completely immersed in a world of cinematic escapades. My heart fills with anticipation at the thought of a movie marathon, a hot cup of tea within reach, and the world outside momentarily forgotten. I finally settle in, all geared up for a calm, soothing night of relaxation. As I shuffle through my movie collection, something catches my eye. Unbelievably, a nondescript package has appeared outside my door. It seems to have sprung from nowhere, its sudden presence causing a sense of unease. However, curiosity prompts me to check it out. Nestled within the package, I find a thumb drive. An eerie message, "Play me," is scrawled across it in jagged, rushed handwriting. Chill runs down my spine. The mystery of what could be on this drive is both unnerving and enticing. I'm into the mystery. Intrigued and with a touch of unease, I plug the thumb drive into my computer. A single video file awaits. A click on the icon sets the video in motion. It becomes apparent that the footage depicts a stroll through a home, uncanny in its resemblance to my own. As the camera leisurely sweeps across environments and objects that look strikingly familiar, my heart reacts with a rhythmic pounding. The living room, the kitchen, even my bedroom, they all appear to be too recognizable for comfort. Accompanying the visuals is a voiceover, a deep and distorted murmur that sends an icy shiver down my spine as it whispers cryptic threats, promises a chilling game. The laughter that follows is anything but normal. It's unsettling, resonating within the confines of my mind long it has ceased. My eyes remain riveted, each tick of the clock amplifying the terror. Video concludes with the camera fixating on a photograph of me in slumber, snatched from my bedside table. As the screen dims, a creeping realization dawns on me. This footage was shot within my own walls. The video continues, and my discomfort grows. My heart pounds like a drum. The uncanny familiarity of the footage is undeniable. It grips me with terror when I notice the same artwork on my walls, the same rug on my floor. But nothing prepares me for the shock of what comes next. The camera pans to a picture of me sleeping peacefully, oblivious to the intruder's presence. The realization hits me like a freight train. I'm not alone. Suddenly the video ends, leaving me in a terrified silence. My heart pounding, I begin to search my apartment. The eerie stillness of the night engulfs me as I painstakingly dissect every inch of my surroundings, my gaze flickering to every hidden crevice and unnoticed corner. A feeling of unease and vulnerability seeping through me. My breath stutters as I spot a minuscule, nearly invisible camera concealed amidst my collection of books. The icy reality strikes. An unknown someone has been observing me, violating my solitude, converting my haven into a platform for their perverse sport. A shock of fear grips me as the invasion of my privacy becomes palpably evident. A wave of terror washes over me as I realize with unsettling clarity, I've been watched. Suddenly my phone rings, shattering the eerie silence around me. A call from an unknown number, the caller ID masked behind a barricade of unknown origins. My hands shake as I answer the call. The voice emanating from the other end of the line is disturbingly recognizable, a mirror of the voice from the video. In a whisper, it inquires, "You discovered my little surprise, are you liking the spectacle?" The words pierce like a dagger in my core, the imminent danger as tangible as ever. Just as I gather myself to retort, the line falls silent. The call is cut short unceremoniously, leaving me in a condition of immobilizing terror. The call ends abruptly, leaving me in a state of paralyzing fear. From the corner of my eye, I catch a movement in the living room. My heart hammers in my chest as I turn to see a tall figure silhouetted against the dim light. It's a mysterious intruder, face obscured by a grotesque mask, a distorted reflection of my own features. The chill of dread snakes up my spine as the figure begins to advance, each step slow and deliberate, relishing the terror that paralyzes me. The room seems to constrict around me, the silence punctuated by the ticking of the clock. The figure is closer now, the chilling grin on the mask becomes discernible. I'm rooted to the spot, my mind screaming to run, but my legs betray me. The figure nears, I summon the strength to dial 911. The dial tone rings in my ear, a beacon of hope amidst the terror that has me in its icy grip. Just as the figure reaches for me, the sound of sirens pierces the night. The abrasive, echoing wail disrupts the encounter, serving as a lifeline in the engulfing darkness, causing the figure to reconsider. The unwelcome visitor beats a hasty retreat, getting swallowed by the apartment's obscurity. Officers of the law charge into my sanctuary, their austere expressions softening as they witness my state of discomfort. They pledge to track down this intruder, their words acting as a soothing salve on my terror-stricken emotions. As the door closes behind the retreating figure, I am left shaken but safe, with the promise that this nightmare will soon be over.
When I was 16, my parents left me alone for the weekend. I was thrilled at first. It was the first taste of freedom, a rite of passage every teenager craves. I had the run of our quaint two-story house, nestled on a tree-lined street in a sleepy suburban neighborhood. The kind of place where, in the light of day, nothing ever happens. I planned a weekend of video games, pizza, and a movie marathon. The afternoon was filled with the echo of virtual gunfire and the smell of melting cheese. The sun was shining, the house was quiet, and I was king of my own little castle. But as the hours ticked by and the sun began to set, the house started to feel different. The comforting silence turned oppressive, and the familiar rooms seemed to take on a life of their own. More lonely, more ominous. The quiet before the storm. It was like the house was coming alive with a life of its own. The creaks and groans were louder, more frequent. As the sun set and shadows crept into the corners of the rooms, a sense of unease started to gnaw at me. The house was no longer the familiar sanctuary I had always known. It was morphing into something unfamiliar, something eerie. The landline rang intermittently, each time startling me. I would rush to answer, only to be met with silence. On the third call, I thought I heard a faint, raspy breathing before the line went dead, leaving me with a chill that had nothing to do with the evening air. To add to the mounting dread, my mobile phone was nowhere to be found. I searched high and low, but it was as if it had vanished into thin air. I started to feel like I wasn't alone, like something or someone was watching me. Then I heard a soft thumping from the basement. It was as if someone was flipping through my old comic books. A chill ran down my spine. Fear gnawed at me, but curiosity held stronger. I was alone, but not powerless. I grabbed my baseball bat, my knuckles turning white as I gripped it tight. Each step towards the basement felt like a mile, my heart pounding like a drum in my chest. The air grew colder, the silence more deafening. My hand reached for the doorknob, every creak of the house echoing like a scream in the stillness. Inside, the basement was a cluttered maze of childhood memories, stale and forgotten. Nothing seemed amiss at first, but then, the door. It slammed shut behind me with a resounding echo, the click of the lock like the final nail in my coffin. I was trapped, in the dark, in the cold, with only the thin beam of my flashlight. Then I heard footsteps, above me, in my house. The weight of those words hung in the air. I was trapped, the blackness of the basement pressing in around me. My heart was pounding like a drum, echoing the rhythm of the footsteps. I could hear them growing louder, closer. The only thing that stood between me and the intruder was the thin beam of my flashlight slicing through the darkness. In the corners of the room, I spotted an old window. It was rusted shut, but it was my only chance. I lunged for it, the harsh metal scraping my hands as I fought to wrench it open. Each second felt like an eternity. My breath hitched in my chest as the footsteps seemed to descend the stairs. And then, just as I thought the end was near, car headlights flooded the basement. It was my neighbors. My heart, still racing, was filled with a rush of relief. Just as I thought the end was near, car headlights flooded the basement. It was my neighbors. The police arrived and confirmed someone had been in the house, but they never found who it was. It was an unsettling reality that left a bitter taste in my mouth. The sanctuary I once found in the familiar nooks and crannies of my home was now tainted with the reminder of an unwelcome presence. As my parents returned, their faces etched with relief and concern, I couldn't help but feel a sense of guilt. Their weekend getaway was cut short by a phone call that no parent ever wants to receive. But they were just glad I was safe, wrapping me in a cocoon of comfort that I desperately needed. Yet the incident left an indelible mark on me. It was like a shadow that refused to fade, even in the light of day. Even now, years later, I still feel a sense of unease when I'm alone at night. The shadows seem to dance, and I can't help but wonder if I'm truly alone,